Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of the Teepee Men Podcast. I am your host, Asher Wise, along with my co-host, Kemper, Kramer, and Trey Swanson. Today, our first topic will be Middle Eastern geopolitics.
Wow.
Who would like to start off?
No.
I see. Thank you very much.
For the record, it's our second episode. Just want to
It is
make
our
that clear.
third. It is our third.
No,
It is
Our
our
second.
third.
guys, don't listen to him.
Don't worry, I'll just edit it in
I'm the
later.
host, boys. You guys made me the host. That's what it says on Patreon, okay?
Shut up.
Hey, follow our Twitter.
I edit the podcast, so I'm in charge.
I
That's
mean,
true.
for legal reasons, I am the host, okay?
I don't think we can sign the contract.
That is true, I guess.
And I don't think
Are you?
you go.
Are we? Is this? Are we like live right now?
Yes.
I
Alright.
I said that, guys.
So you wanted the first topic to be about Ukraine and Russia.
Oh, Ukraine and Russia. Okay, boys.
There's a good example.
What are your thoughts on Ukraine and Russia? Kemper, you go first.
Um. Well, first of all, I just want to say, I've done my part. I have officially supported Ukraine. I've gained them our official endorsement. Check our Twitter at Teepee Men. For those who have seen it, it's a picture of a teepee that we made a few years ago that did eventually end up collapsing. But that's not important because Ukraine will not collapse unless it does. Then there's not much we can do there.
Like, I know
Um,
Russia's been slowly wanting to take over bits of Ukraine, but now they're just gonna fall on board.
yeah, they took Crimea in 2014, and now I think they just want the rest. I think they're hungry for more.
They got a taste of it and they just wanted all of it now.
Historical context, clapping noises. Ukraine used to be part of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, better known as the Soviet Union, and then it sneezed really hard in the 90s and it all fell apart. And Putin is a very hard-line, very big Russian man. He called the collapse of the Soviet Union the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 21st century. Sorry, 20th century. And for like clarification, I don't know if you guys know what happened in like the 1900s, like cough cough World War One, World War Two. I would say those are substantially more important than the collapse of Russia. I don't know
Definitely.
about the rest of you guys,
100%, yeah.
but I think Putin might be over exaggerating. I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. Putin, what? He would never lie.
And
He's
Putin
the
would never
most
do such a
not
thing.
corrupt president ever. He totally isn't president for life, right?
Definitely. How long has he been president for? 20 years, something like that?
I think so.
20 years.
Let me look that up.
Yeah.
How long has Putin been president of Russia?
I think it's 20
He
years.
legally, yeah, I think
I think
so.
he got it in like 2002.
So,
Something like that.
wait, and according to this, he has been. Oh, that's weird because his first and second terms was 1999 to 2008, but then Dmitry took him over for 2008 to 2012, but then Vladimir Putin for the third and fourth took over. So
Yeah, and
Sounds about right.
then he started removing the opposition, so to speak.
yeah, just eliminating them. He's been president for about 18 years. Actually, almost exactly 14, 18 years almost. That's interesting.
Fun fact, for a brief period when Ukraine became independent, they actually held the third largest nuclear arsenal in the world for a few months.
Yeah,
Because when the Soviets collapsed, they held all their nukes in Ukraine. So Ukraine just kind of had all of those for a little bit.
they had some toys to play with.
They had some firepower.
Is Ukraine part of NATO?
No,
they're not.
it desperately tried to be, and it also tried to be in the EU. But Germany was like, "How about we don't cause World War III?"
How
And they
about no?
refused. Yeah, how about maybe you just leave?
I feel like they should 100% join the EU. You know, like
I mean, they're in Europe.
it'd be beneficial for both
Yeah,
the
they
EU and them.
they tried joining a while back, and then they got into some protests and stuff because their leader was pro-Russian, and the people didn't like that, so they basically just revolutioned, and then Russia invaded, and all of that other stuff happened. Now they're in a crisis.
And speaking of the EU, I feel like, not to start calling one out, but the UK should probably join. Not to call anyone out on that.
Britain is an interesting nation in terms of European politics.
Oh, absolutely.
UK was like, I'm going to join the EU, which has its own currency, a universal currency. Joins EU, keeps the pound.
Exactly. I don't know why they did that much. You know, UK just do their own. I mean, they can do what they want, I guess. The Queen wants what she wants.
Trey,
Yeah.
can Twitch viewers see like if I were to post something in the chat, could they see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, not the Twitch chat, like the Discord chat.
Oh no.
Because I posted an interesting map about Ukraine.
No, they won't be able to see it. You can share your screen.
Can? Oh yeah, I can.
As soon as you share your screen, it should pop up. But to the audio listeners, we'll just describe it.
All right, boys. So currently, right here, this is a map of Russian military buildup around Ukraine. As you can see from the title, it's very, very good. Crimea, Russia annexed in 2014, like it says. Even though Ukraine claims Crimea, and Crimea also claims Crimea as an independent nation.
I don't know what.
And Belarus is pretty much a Russian puppet, you know? Like it's independent, but it's also not because the president is pro-Russia.
Didn't Russia elect them?
Not actually sure about that one. Kemper, you look that up.
Yeah, Kemper, that's your job.
What's the question?
So
did Putin elect the Belarusian president? Lukashenko, I think.
I don't. I think he probably pulled some strings because he was very pro. He is very pro. He literally called Europe's last dictator.
Yeah, he's an interesting man.
Yeah.
But if you look over here in the west or east or whatever, we have Transnistria, which is a nation that the only nation that recognizes Transnistria is Transnistria.
Just like Taiwan.
It is the last remaining bit of the Soviet Union. You can look on their what's it called?
Passport.
The passport. Yeah, and it has the iron and sickle.
It's awesome.
I should get a passport just because of that.
Yeah. Now, as you can see from over here in Donbass, it's Ukrainian, but it is controlled by pro-Russians. This is where a bunch of stuff got set on fire.
Yes, this is true.
Now if you look, the US and NATO and all their allies, we've really only got troops outside of Ukraine. But Russia, they have troops inside of Ukraine. Because I think Transnistria is part of Ukraine or is part of Moldova. I don't remember.
Moldova, technically.
What do you think would happen?
Which Russia does have a heavy presence in.
What do you guys think would happen if Russia actually managed to take over Ukraine?
I feel like they'll take over Ukraine because Ukraine doesn't really have a strong military.
Yeah.
Then they'll have the backing of everybody else. So
Do you think the U.S. will get
Yeah.
involved?
Um, you know, I don't know. With our current president, I I'm really not sure. I like there's a part of me that hopes we do, but at the same time, this very well could escalate into a third world war.
Yeah, and we definitely don't want that.
Like if we do intervene, I pray that it'll just be like a proxy war.
Oh, I don't want to have to be drafted.
Yeah, like
I don't think any
because
of us are old enough to be drafted
Yeah, I think it's
in
18.
America.
18 to be drafted,
yeah,
right? But there's
2 more years.
there's so many reserve units, so I doubt anyone's going to get drafted.
Oh yeah, there's no way.
But war is always a scary thought,
It's
Yeah.
yeah,
just because like it's unpredictable. Like you can't tell what the
I
other
mean,
person's thinking.
especially war in the 21st century is a horrifying thought. Because I was explaining this to Kemper yesterday or whatever. There's so many unstable nuclear powers in the world that are against us or with us, I guess, in terms of like India. But like it could easily turn into a global nuclear death.
Yeah, nuclear weapons are a scary thought, just because
yeah,
they have
like
so much power.
yeah, and like because those small and stable rump states don't have anything else going for them, so they think, oh, nuclear power will make us, stand out, make us strong in the international stage.
Yeah, just like this is like one of the topics I wish like more people weren't scared of nuclear like reactors and stuff, power, just because like
Yeah,
people think that they can explode like a nuclear bomb, but they can't. It's just not possible.
Everybody's scared of like nuclear reactors because of Chernobyl and how like publicized, I guess, like it is
Yeah,
because
definitely.
it exploded. But nobody truly understands that nuclear power is not nearly as dangerous because like Chernobyl is a unique example because it was run by
An idiot.
like yeah.
Like there's no soft way to put it. The guy was an idiot.
I if I remember correctly, I think like Chernobyl was like I think it was like bad planning.
Yeah, Chernobyl. It was an old school reactor. It was like very early of its type, and it just never had any safety protocols. It just like it was all manual controlled, everything. And so, if you don't have the safety precautions, something's eventually going to go wrong. That's why safety precautions exist.
yeah.
Like the two worst nuclear incidents like that were Chernobyl and Fukushima. Fukushima. I butchered that name, but Fukushima in Japan. And that one
Oh
was
yeah,
actually,
that was in 2011, I think.
yep, when a
Yeah.
tsunami hit
That was on my
Japan.
birthday. Fun fact.
Wow,
It's literally my
you
birthday.
caused a nuclear accident.
Which then caused an earthquake, which then caused a tsunami.
Kemper was so big that day.
I
You
know.
know, there's only been like a hand. No, actually, now that I'm looking at this, there's not a handful. Oh, there's a lot more than a handful. There was a nuclear reactor explosion in America as of 2018,
Really?
but all it
You
did
heard
was
about Three
leak.
Mile Island?
3 Mile Island is the most famous because it killed like how many people?
A few.
It killed a few, yeah.
Like I'm looking.
Um,
I'm looking at some
in
numbers. And,
America,
oh, you can go.
yeah, okay. In America, the most fatalities ever done by a nuclear power plant explosion were on December 9th, 1986, the same year Chernobyl exploded. That killed 4 people, and that is the highest. After that, it's 3, which was in January 3rd of 1961 in Idaho. That killed 3 people. And then after that, for the next, like, 6, there's only 1 death. And then for the next 20, I want to say, it's 0.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I'm looking at some numbers, and according to this page, it says that every 14 years, one person will die from a nuclear accident. That's like an average,
Yeah.
and that's really low. Like that's even compared to like hydropower. Like that's hydropower can be even more dangerous. Just yeah, like I wish nuclear reactors were a lot more popular than they actually are. Because like coal power plants, like coal power plants are just super dangerous. Like just burning oil and stuff. And like
Yeah.
whenever people hear radiation, they get scared instantly. When in fact, like people like I know like I used to know someone who was afraid of using microwaves, right? And they had no
Really?
they had no microwaves, no fire alarms, anything that could. They didn't eat bananas either, because bananas are the most
Wow.
radioactive fruit.
Bananas you'd have to
Yeah.
eat, kill you. I think it's 50,000.
Oh, it's 10 million. Oh, consumed at once.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that one. Yeah, I remember being a large number. That's what I remembered.
Yeah, and that's for the radiation to kill you. The bananas like just if you just ate a ton, like a few thousand bananas, it would probably kill you just because overdose basically on banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you wanna know what they did also? They were a smoker.
Big brain.
Big,
Makes
large
sense.
brain, mega large. This was like this person was like back when I lived in Toledo and stuff, and like I never understood that person.
Nuclear reactors are arguably the best way to go into the future of renewable, not really renewable, but less carbon emissions,
Yeah, clean.
power. Yeah, clean energy. Yeah, it is the most effective way, 100% most effective.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's just like, it produces megawatts, which is a lot compared to and there's here's a fun stat. If you were to live, let me see. I think it's around like a few miles, like I think a mile away from a nuclear power plant. The radiation you would get from that is less than living 1 mile than a coal power plant. Coal power plants are technically more radioactive. Just because.
Oh, sorry.
You can go.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, near me in Ottawa County, Ohio, we have the Davis-Besse nuclear power station. That produces 894 megawatts of power.
How much is that compared to a coal power plant? Look, a coal power plant power output.
You can hear the gears turning.
So a standard 500 megawatt coal power plant. So like just 500 megawatts is standard. Which I mean it's high, but coal is just not the way to go.
Coal is not the way to go.
It's so funny because like a few years ago when I was a young man and a young lad, and I was big into space and engineering and climate and weather and all that good stuff. And I would get so mad. I would get furious because I would look at the stuff about global warming and stuff. And I'd be like, "Oh, darn you, these world leaders. Like, why can't you see the writing on the wall? We're all going to drown by 2100. Like, why just stop using CO2?" And then I grew up and I realized you got to look at their perspective. Like um yeah, the science, it's all going downhill unless we don't change something. That nothing's ever going to change because it's all business and money. That's all it is.
And like one of the biggest problems is that countries they change things based on what the custom or the people want. Like for example, in Germany,
Yeah.
I think Germany had 27 nuclear power plants at one point, and they were great. It produced clean energy. They were one of the greenest countries in the world. But
Yeah.
people were afraid of them, so they started removing them, demolishing them, and just getting rid of them. And now they plan to get rid of every single one. There's 2 left operating, I think. And by the end of this year, they plan to have them gone.
Jeez.
Just because
That's
people just are afraid of something they don't understand.
exactly. And yeah, like also with like people are always like, oh, America is one of the leading global, carbon producers or whatever. Like we ought to fix that. Like, okay, that's probably true, but who's number one? China.
Yeah, China, absolutely.
Nobody wants to talk to them because they're China.
They're
So, like,
communists. Ew.
why? Exactly. They literally have 1 billion people. Like they are the ones who we need to change. But they're not going to listen because why would they?
And I think India is in second place.
Yeah, India, probably. Because like they have about the same people, but they're not as wealthy. I don't think. Most of them, not India is very poor. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
It's extremely poor.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's Are they a first world country or a third world country?
I consider India to be a second world country.
I mean, I get, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
They have a absolutely massive wealth gap, but like they are improving slowly.
Mhm.
They're slowly and surely, industrializing.
And like,
Okay, sorry. Share of CO2 emissions by country. Number 1, we have China at 28%, and then the rest of the world at 21%.
Wow.
So yeah,
15%. Then India at 7%. Then Russia, Japan, Germany, Iran, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Canada, Mexico, South Africa, Brazil, Turkey, Australia, UK, Poland, Italy, and France, all with 1% past Canada.
exactly.
I know Iceland is 100% green, and I think they're the only country that's 100% green.
It makes sense. It's
'Cause
Iceland.
they use geothermal power,
They have so many of those.
and like it's nice because then the water comes preheated to your house. You don't have to heat water in your house.
Dang.
That's like you don't. It's because as soon as it comes to your house, it's already hot.
Iceland is a geyser.
It's just a giant geyser. And like I feel bad for people that live in Iceland because their language, Icelandic, it's like there's so many you can't. It's like really, it's a dying language, sadly. Like if you just try to find it,
Yeah.
like if you try to find it in your phone's settings, Icelandic, you won't find it because it doesn't exist in there, and it's kind of sad.
Okay. I don't actually think that's right. Albania and Albania, Iceland, and Paraguay. The only 3 countries to have 100% renewable energy.
And how many countries are there?
99%.
And there's like 200 countries, so
Yeah.
200 recognized countries.
exactly. Vatican City is even green, and they're like the smallest country.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, then you've got your like cities in like America and stuff that are green, like your cities,
Yeah,
not like the nation itself. Like Aspen, Colorado is 100% green energy.
and that's
Like
yeah.
Burlington, Vermont.
And I just like,
Yeah.
cause like people always make the argument like, well, radioactive waste is dangerous. Well, it is, but would you rather have that stored underground where it can't escape, submerged in water and stuff, or have CO2 just CO2 floating everywhere?
Exactly. Destroying the ozone.
Yeah, I would rather have a bunch of nuclear waste buried underground where it won't really affect anything as long as it doesn't leak out. That's just a lot safer.
Stuff like that is kind of rare to happen too. Like
Yeah.
there's not really like a big like, oh no, nuclear waste is spilling everywhere. Everybody run.
Oh no,
That's not
everyone's
really
dying.
something people fear about.
Yeah, it's like the fear is always that it's gonna explode. which just
Oh,
doesn't. That's not how that works at all.
Yeah.
'Cause, like the basic behind a nuclear reactor is you use uranium to heat up water, and that water
Yeah.
gets hot and turns to steam. And
Steam is the energy, right?
yep, it always comes down to steam. All electricity just comes down to steam usually, unless like you're using geothermal. But even then, it can. And it's just like use it to power turbines, and then that vapor that comes out of the cooling towers, just water, normal water, not radioactive at all.
Yeah.
And like the aspect of fusion power seems like a cool idea, and we're so close to being able to get good at it.
Yeah. Where the sun in the palm of my hands.
Exactly. And fusion
solar
power.
energy.
Oh, you can go.
Solar energy is one of those that I wish could be like useful, but it's not. You have to have so many like solar fields for it to be.
It's very inefficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It also depends where you live. Because if you live in a hot climate, they don't actually work as well. Like if you live in a cold climate, they actually work better, which I didn't know. I thought it was the opposite.
Yeah.
And it's like I wish because fusion power is such a cool idea because you can't make a bomb out of it. Fusion power just you can't kill people with fusion power pretty much. Because let's say
Man, I wish.
yeah, it just makes so much energy and clean energy. Like 1 cup of seawater for the fusion reactor would be equal to 1 barrel of oil. They would produce the exact same amount. And we have near limitless. We have almost unlimited seawater, so.
Yeah.
And it's just like fusion power. Like you can't if you let's say you have a fusion reactor that's working, and you crack it open while it's running, and like it breaks. It couldn't explode because the stuff inside the plasma it would instantly cool down, and it would just turn into like a gas, and that gas is pretty harmless.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, like the biggest problem is we can't keep it active for long because it just overheats almost instantly.
Yeah.
It turns out having something that's hotter than the center of the sun is a pretty difficult job.
Go figure.
And like wind turbines and stuff, like they only work some of the time. Just because like you never know when the wind's gonna be coming from.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ways power can be generated.
Nuclear is the best. Like.
Yeah, until we have fusion, nuclear is our best option.
Yeah.
Because then
wind is just incredibly inefficient, and so is solar. Hydroelectric is good, but you have to have
constant
the
maintenance.
proper stuff. Like,
Yeah.
You need. Yeah. It's very situational.
And it has to be it has to be used to consistently maintenance it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't,
Yeah.
one little crack could end an entire city.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's happened before.
Well, the
Yeah.
Hoover Dam is so interesting.
There was a Chinese dam that was poorly maintained, and it wasn't up to safety standards of like other dams around the world. And what eventually happened is it eventually had a small crack, and one day it stormed so hard that the sluice gates, which are how emergency water gets out, just so it doesn't flood, there was only one of them, I think. So of course the rain was pushing harder than the sluice gate could handle, and eventually it broke the dam and flooded an entire city.
Jeez.
That's insane.
And that alone was more deadly than all of the nuclear accidents combined.
Yeah, probably. Still not as deadly as the Taiping Rebellion. You guys know about the Taiping Rebellion?
I've heard the name. I know a little bit about it.
Oh,
It was the
Okay.
third deadliest conflict in human history.
behind the world wars, yeah, it had 20 million casualties.
Yeah, that's high.
It started because some guy claimed to be Jesus' brother.
True
Really?
story.
It's one of those. It sounds fake, but like it's not.
That seems hard to believe. Yeah, I see what you
Yeah,
mean.
like it caused 20 million people to die, and then it like caused the end of Christianity in like Qing China.
Man, that's rough. Like just like there's so many things in this world that needs to be fixed, and it all comes down to money.
Yeah,
It does.
Sadly, it does. Yeah.
And like, cause like, and another thing with like back to like the climate change thing about all the money, like it's also a huge like political thing, cause like, Biden, one of his election things was, I'm going to do all this clean energy stuff. Like, but if you solve climate change, then you can't use the you know the
We never
I don't
wanted.
know, the election boost or whatever to get
Exactly.
to get all those people to vote for you. You can't use that anymore if it's not an issue. So
Yeah, and like here's a good example. We could build a moon base for about 20 to 40 billion dollars. Now that sounds like a lot for like the average person,
Isn't
but
that Elon Musk's net worth?
I think he's worth more than that. And like
probably is.
we could have a fully functional moon base, and that would help so much with
Fuck,
so many of our problems.
Yeah.
$250 billion
Jeez,
is Elon Musk's net worth.
he could sell his kidney and make an entire moon base then.
Jeff Bezos less.
Oh yeah, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world.
Damn, by like double.
Yeah, it changes like every day.
Yeah, but like when people first hear about having a moon base, they don't see why you'd want to. But like, there's so many benefits to having one. One benefit would be it's easier to launch a rocket from the surface of the moon than it is to launch from the surface of Earth.
Yeah, because there's no atmosphere,
Exactly, no atmosphere and less gravity. So
no
just
drag.
and like you
Yeah,
could just theoretically throw something out of orbit.
yeah,
And here's the big benefit. Uh, it would it would give us new technology that we could use here. And here's a real big benefit. There's helium-3 on the moon's surface, which if you don't know what helium-3 is, it's a molecule it's a form of helium, and it's caused by solar wind. And do you know what solar wind is?
yeah. It's wind from the sun.
Yes, we'll go with that. Because like here's an example. Here's just to help you explain that. In space, everything if you held a flashlight in front of you in space, that flashlight's technically pushing you now if you turn it on, because
Yeah,
the little protons are pushing you forward, and so the
yeah,
sun does that at an extreme rate that pushes anything it touches technically, but it
yeah,
doesn't affect it. But eventually, the moon has no core or no magnetic field, so all that solar proton stuff it covers the moon and leaves behind helium-3, which what the sun uses.
yeah.
Helium-3 is used to make fusion power. That's why it would be so important. Because
I see.
how do you guys feel about space travel just in general?
It's interesting.
Like if you
It
could,
like I think the next space race is going to be between companies and
private industry.
eventually nation might. I mean, I think like companies will work on behalf of governments,
Hmm.
i.e., like the U.S. and maybe China.
I
And
I hope there's another space race. Cause like
yeah,
it
well, because
would help.
the only reason like the first one started is because of the Cold War.
Yeah,
Like each
We're
side
in
just wanted to have
second.
better tech than the other.
and it massively helped. Like NASA invented the microchip, and
Yeah,
without
like-
that, like I can't name a single thing in my room that probably is electronic that doesn't have one.
Yeah, like war is insanely profitable for new technologies.
Yeah, it's like almost it's an evil, but the evil can help sometimes.
Yeah, there's good and the bad.
And like, oh, here's a good transition to a next topic. Have you guys ever heard the Fermi paradox? Or not the Fermi? I forget how to pronounce
Not only what not no, I only heard what you told me beforehand.
I told you
I
beforehand.
didn't even hear what you told me beforehand.
You weren't here.
Yeah, you weren't here.
That is true.
You
That
were
is
doing your own
true.
thing.
The anesthesiologist was like,
Trey, explain.
looks like residency.
So, I forget how to pronounce it, but let me look up how to pronounce it real quick. I'm just gonna use Google Translate. But so in space, space is massive. Our galaxy is never ending.
Space
And
is massive.
It's so
Whoa.
because it's so massive. Like you would think that we would have noticed another life form by now.
Fermi.
Oh, Fermi paradox. There we go. So the Fermi paradox is, why haven't we seen other aliens, like other living intelligent beings? We have no evidence of them existing ever.
I know the answer.
Why?
Earth is a mosquito habitat. That's what they said in Lilo and Stitch. That is what I live by. That's
does that
why
mean?
nobody will encounter us, because they don't want to endanger the mosquito.
The mosquito. Evil mosquitoes.
That is my lore for life.
But just but talking like the Fermi paradox. Like if you could because like the infinite's so big, right? That you think someone would have heard our messages, or we would have heard a message. But there's nothing. There's no evidence of them existing ever. And so so here's a quote that from someone I forgot who the quote's from, but it goes like this: we are either alone in the universe, or there are other beings in the universe, or we are alone in the universe. Both are equally terrifying. Which is, I find, true. Like, because if we're alone, that's an entire universe to ourselves. And we will never meet another intelligent being like us, or other animals on Earth, or something like that. And it's kind of upsetting.
Like, it's weird, like, because you would think by this point we would find at least something, but like clearly we haven't, or maybe we have, and just the majority of the public doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
But
That's my personal theory.
that, I might think that because think about it, if we did get a photograph of some far off alien civilization, that would completely shatter first of all, it would break most religions.
Yeah,
It would shatter our complete view on the universe.
That would change everything.
Society would just flip. Yeah. So it would make sense from that point of view. Why you would want to keep that hidden.
Mm-hmm. And our universe.
And my second theory is just we're just alone. Not alone. The universe is mathematically too big to not have life. That's what I believe.
Exactly. So let's say 0.1% of all planets are habitable. That's a very low estimate.
But even still, that's huge. That's so many worlds.
Billions of planets. And our universe is 14 billion years old.
Yeah.
Someone should have found us by now.
Exactly.
Our planet is only a few million years old, I think, right? How old is Earth?
I think it's 3 billion or something like that.
4.5 billion.
Yeah.
And there's just no way that we should have, cause like we're like before us it was 10 billion years. So then people had 10 billion years to make other life. And it's weird because like no one's
Well, we can
contacted us.
call ancient aliens up in his house. Feel like the aliens are the only reasons that humans have evolved. Like,
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you guys ever heard of the dark forest solution?
no.
no,
this-
I have not.
This ties into the paradox. The dark forest solution is that there is other life, but they're hiding. Because they're hiding because everything is hostile. Like everything's just deadly, and so no one trusts anything. Because like the people that were friendly, they're now eliminated. They got eliminated by other people just because they offered their hand out. And so
Okay.
they could be hiding from
I was
people.
gonna say something like that. I was gonna be like, what if they just won't come find us because, like, they're scared, or
Yeah.
they just like, at one point, because in biology class we talked about how what if the Earth isn't like the first version of Earth, right? Because like you said, there's 10 billion years before modern day Earth.
Exactly.
So what if before this there was life forms on Earth that just got like destroyed, and they somehow managed to do something external and just scare people away from our planet?
Like if let's say they're watching us but we can't see them. I would be terrified if I saw them with us with nuclear weapons just killing random cities just because we can. Like,
We
'cause it
need
just
to hit
yeah.
the cities we targeted. These two are free.
And it's just like that's like I keep saying just like, but like that's the dark void solution is that they're hiding. It's like two hunters that are constantly hiding, and whoever pulls the trigger first is going to be the winner. And so is that the thing we're having to deal with? Is that there are other life forms, but they're scared to approach us because all their predecessors did the same thing, reach out, and they died. They got eliminated because they offered their hand. And it's just like, because that means if a planet like a few million light years away, if you wanted to attack them, like let's say we want to send a fleet that goes at a fraction of light speed, by the time we get people or ships to their place, they're already going to be more technology advanced than us because it's going to take years to get there. Like
Exactly. And like that's the thing with like space colonization. Like even with like Mars, with our like current technology, it takes like I think what is it? It's like 8 months or something? It's a few months.
I think 3 months.
Yeah. And like even still I do know that like you have to wait for like the Earth and Mars to even be like aligned correctly or something like that to get like the optimal launch.
Yeah, the trip to Mars will take about 7 months on a good trajectory.
Yeah, so like how do you like you I don't see how you can maintain and like it I don't know. Like I think you get what I'm trying to say. But like I don't know how you can like maintain something that you like talk to every 7 months.
Exactly, and it's like that's why I think we should do the moon.
Farther
first.
away, and it takes years. Like I don't get it.
That's why I think we should do the moon first because the moon's a lot closer. And once we colonize the moon, we can basically do anything. Because then we have the power. Because there's ice on the moon. That's confirmed.
Yeah.
And ice, well, is water. And what is water made of? Hydrogen and oxygen. Or otherwise known as rocket fuel. And so you literally have rocket fuel there. And it would be so easier. It would be a lot easier to go to other planets then. Because you'd have more fuel. And it would be easier to let them take off.
Yeah. Oh, Trey, do you have Apple TV?
Yes.
Okay. Um, you should
All
you should
Mankind?
watch. Yes, you know where I'm going with this. You should watch the show For All Mankind.
I just watched that actually.
Did you watch all of it?
Yep. As soon as it came out, I watched it.
You watched the second season?
Yep.
Dude, okay, you know where I'm going with this then.
Yeah, I love the idea of that
It
movie.
it's it's such a good show.
For anyone who doesn't know what
I
that is, you should
really
probably
It
like
definitely
it.
watch
must be nice.
that.
Android superiority.
Get an Apple, Lamau.
You can make an Apple account.
Yeah, just get Apple TV.
I don't have any money.
Get a job, Lamau.
You guys are
Um,
racist.
Android sucks. But yeah, yeah, it's a fantastic concept because like it tackles like it's like an alternate history, and then there's bits of drama, and then there's the science aspect, and I love how they just accumulate all of that together.
Yeah, and it's like there's certain parts of them like I wish they would like humanity could do so much more if we collaborated together instead of being
Yeah.
divided. Like, so the Soviets, their ideology might not be good compared to ours, and even then, ours is everything's flawed. Nothing's perfect. Like
Yeah.
communism isn't a bad idea, but the people who tried to use it were bad people.
That is incorrect.
Yeah,
Communism is a bad idea. Socialism is meh.
But communism, okay, on paper, it's actually a great idea because everyone's
in
equal.
theory, yeah, everyone gets paid the same. It's just a doctor gets paid as much as a janitor, which that's not how that works.
Yeah, and like because then also we're flawed because of capitalism, because that means everything you can basically buy anything, and they don't
Yeah.
really, and the government doesn't really care what happens to you.
And capitalism does lead to the death of millions of people every year.
Yeah, like one of the biggest problems I have with the United States is the lack of healthcare.
Oh boy, we're getting into the good topics today.
Oh yeah. Because-
Yeah.
Fun.
I'm not a commie, but come on, guys. America at least should have some kind of universal health care.
Yeah, it's just like having people like be homeless and have diseases that can be solved with a single pill. A single injection that could save someone's life, but they want $200 for it. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just because like they would rather have people die or go into crippling money debt just to save their life.
Yeah.
Like, so what do you think for universal healthcare?
I feel like it should be like based on who needs what more. Like, let's say you go to the hospital for like a sprained ankle. Maybe it'll cost you like $20 out of pocket, right?
Yeah, like
But then let's say you get into a car crash.
the car accident person should be prioritized.
Yeah. And like you should get not really special treatment, but you should get priority treatment.
Life.
Over Yeah.
Because you're not gonna die from a sprained ankle. Like, sure, it can have side effects if it's not treated properly, but would I rather have one person live and another person die, or have both live but they both have like one has a sprained ankle or doesn't have the same ankle? Like, I would just have two people alive. Save as many people as you can.
Yeah.
Because then like that leads to like the thing where like, because like so like if someone walks into the hospital and they want cosmetic surgery, they should have to pay for that completely. the government should not pay for that. Because cosmetic,
Yeah.
it's not life threatening. I feel like anything life threatening, you should probably have to pay for, unless it's like, can I get like a Tylenol? It's like that's really cheap.
Yeah.
But like, let's say you have diabetes, and you need insulin. That should be like utmost importance. And insulin is ridiculously priced. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just because of big companies want to say, hey, this $10 product actually costs $1,000.
Yeah.
Just because someone has because like not all diabetes is the same.
Yeah.
It's like
Like
you can be
my mom has type 1, so it's like that's the not fat one.
yeah, and then I think type 2 is when you inherit, right? Is that I'm not
Type 2 is the one from just being fat. Type 1 is the one that you can inherit or you just get. My mom got it when she was pregnant with me.
Oh, okay. I think that's a pretty common thing, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, because like I literally have a friend at my church who has the same. Yeah, it's type 1, and he's like super fit. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's less common than type 2 in America, but I think generally everywhere else it's about equal-ish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like it makes me so sad to see the prices of insulin. Like, not everyone has control over what happens to them. Like, because let's say like I'm born with cancer. I guess I don't have any control over that. Like, well, as soon as I'm
Yeah.
born, I don't have control over what happens to me. It's just a roll of the dice.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But like, I wish America had better healthcare. Like, so there's plenty of things that you should have to pay for because it's not necessary.
All right, this kind of goes along with it. EpiPens, you know those things that can save you from like anaphylactic shock,
Oh yeah, epinephrine
Yeah.
are about $700 for 2 pens.
for 2 pens.
That's what I'm getting from Google.
How much does it cost to produce that? I bet it's like pennies.
It's so overpriced.
Okay, so
That's the issue with a privatized healthcare.
Yeah.
So according to this article, so my Atlanta charges roughly $300 per thing, but though it costs $30 to produce them.
Jeez.
That is literally like that's like a 300% markup.
Yeah.
And like even some companies, they can make it for $20. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just that is how much is insulin right now? How much is insulin? Because like I think the last time I checked, it was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, so according to this article, the average price per insulin unit rose 54%. How much? I am confusing. Because what's it like a unit of? How much is a 30-day supply of insulin? A 30-day supply of insulin costs at $25. Really? That doesn't feel right. Okay, no. Newer versions of insulin retail for about $300 to $175 per bottle or per vial.
Jeez.
And most patients with diabetes need 2 or 3 vials per month. That's like $900 a month just for something that costs like 20 cents to produce. Probably not that
Yeah.
much, but still. And like I'm going to also trash on the imperial system. It's garbage. I hate the imperial system. Yeah, I said it. Cause like, well, the metric system just makes more sense.
Yeah, but we're America, so
But like that's the thing. In schools, they teach us both. So why not just go
yeah,
with the one that's standard?
exactly.
But we have to learn. You have to use an imperial system too, because let's make things weird. We gotta be different.
Yeah.
We're quirky.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the imperial system? Like, or do you guys actually you guys mostly use it? I'm assuming it. So
I mean, I have to use both at my school. So I go to a fancy engineering school, so we have to use both the imperial and metric,
yeah,
and it sucks.
I try to always stick with the metric system just because it's easier to remember. Like I've lived. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how many feet is a mile. I'm not even sure. It just doesn't make sense to me.
know.
I think it's like 5,000 something something. How many feet in a mile? 5,280 feet per mile. Or if I want to think of kilometer, 1,000 meters. Pretty easy to remember. What about you, Kemper?
Yeah.
Do you use the metric system or the imperial system in like school and stuff, or you use both?
I'm an American. I don't know what a kilometer is.
I don't know. I prefer capital bailout per city.
Exactly.
How many rednecks per burger? Yeah, there's just so many problems. There's a lot of problems with the U.S., but I mean, it's not the country it once was, sadly.
This is very true. Like, eh, like, basically post World War II. We were basically World War II, like the end of probably like 1945 to like 2009 probably would be like the greatest like years of like America, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the 50s and like early 60s were like the best time to be just an average person because the middle class grew exponentially. But I mean, for like America as a whole, I'd say like like the 50s to like the early 2000s were our best period. And like because like the Cold War was obviously happening for most of the second half of the 20th century. But like when you really look at it, the Soviets and the United States were nowhere near on like equal like playing field.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Like the Soviet like our just our fear of communism just bolstered that like so much, bolstered their capabilities.
And we just
Um
they always lie. Like both countries like to seem like they were better, but they both lied about many things.
exactly.
And they both hated the opposite.
Yeah.
Cold War is an interesting topic, right? Because like neither side really won the Cold War, to say, I guess. Like, I mean, because the
I beg
Soviet
to
Union
differ.
collapsed, but like,
I don't feel like either side was necessarily the bad guy.
yeah.
I mean, like, sure, Russia could be classified as the bad guy, but I mean, every country.
I mean,
done
it
its part
certainly is not like as like a blatantly good versus evil war like World War II. But,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty obvious. But
More like a World War
yeah,
One
that's
style.
it's very out there. It's very bold.
yeah,
Um,
But like the Cold War, it's like, I mean, they both aren't necessarily bad, but both were not necessarily good either.
Yeah, because like we
Yeah.
did some pretty messed up things in Southeast Asia. So
Oh,
did
yeah.
the commies. And then there was Mao in China. He did some horrific things.
Like,
But then the Soviets and China sort of broke up, and they stopped seeing each other. Then
Soviet split.
yeah,
I gotta
So, I
say,
mean-
Soviet split was an American victory.
was it though? I don't think anybody won for that except for China.
Nah, America won because then Russia lost Chinese like workers.
I got a thing to
Yeah.
tell you guys about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
What
The-
about
America
the Cuban
started it.
Missile Crisis?
yeah, the United States started that.
Yeah, because we put turkeys in, or we put
We
turkey.
put-
Yeah, we put turkeys in
Turkeys in
turkeys. So
We put turkeys in turkeys when
yeah,
we put like missiles in Ukraine and Turkey and aiming them at Russia. And
yeah, we
so,
put some in Turkey, which is like right up. It's basically Russia's Cuba,
exactly.
and yeah.
And so, if there's a country aiming missiles at you, you're probably gonna do the same back.
Exactly.
I love it because in schools we only learn about the Cuban Missile Crisis and like the 14 days of terror or whatever in October.
And, like-
And it's like we don't learn about it from like the Russian POV. We only learn America.
America good, America best.
They put missiles in Cuba. America do nothing wrong.
Yeah,
JFK
missiles.
got
Exactly.
a
We all-
telephone.
We the best. Ooh, ooh. And like, if anything, the Russians tried to de-escalate the situation. Like they
True.
saw that it wasn't wrong, but apparently we didn't see anything wrong. And like, there's plenty of times where we've done bad things, and I always hate the argument when people say, "Well, America got freedom." I'm like,
America's not first on the freedom ranking.
yeah, we are not first. There's basically all of Europe has freedom. A lot of Asia.
Yeah, because
basi-
like, people like look at like, because like the Eastern Europe was under the control of the Soviets for that entire period, and then they all tried to rebel, and they all got crushed. Like, people look at that and like, but like at the same time, you look at what was happening in America with all the civil rights and all the racial violence and all that. Like, yeah, they're not the same, but they still sucked. Like,
exactly. Like I
maybe
just
not quite full scale war on like African Americans in America, but still horrible.
I just recently had someone tell me in confidence that America was the first country to abolish slavery. And they said that's why we were such a good country because we were the first, quote unquote. But
There's no way somebody can say that in confidence.
they said that like they knew what they were talking about. And I'm like,
Oh, boys.
Russia
Have you
did it
heard of
before
those?
us. And like I told him Russia did it before even us, and he was like, no, that's not right. Russia still has slavery. Like Russia's not necessarily a good country to live in, but compared to some other countries, it would be a great place to live. Like if I had to choose between if I had to choose between North Korea or Russia, I know which one I'm choosing.
Oh yeah, North Korea literally should not exist in our modern world.
Yeah,
Like the
It is a
control they have over their people is unprecedented.
not even
Like they're literally scared to think because they think that Kim Jong-un can like read their mind.
yeah. They're so brainwashed. I feel so bad for them.
Yeah, and they're all starving. Like they're putting no effort into their food production. It's all going to the missiles, probably,
Yeah,
most likely.
I mean even
Like-
Russia understands that you can't treat people like that. Like even that.
Yeah,
That's just it's. There's plenty of like other countries like probably like Iran and stuff. Like there's certain places in Iran it's probably a good place, but if you live like near terrorist groups and stuff, especially in, I mean,
So America is 17th on the freedom ranking.
Oof.
Hong Kong has a higher freedom ranking than us, apparently.
Yeah, that's oof. I mean, like, I sometimes, I mean, the Russian government, or not the Russian government, the Chinese government. I'm not sure what to think about them because they're not necessarily the worst. I mean, they're definitely not the worst.
Yeah.
Whose government?
Chinese. Because like
In
they're not the,
comparison to who?
like they're not the worst in the world. Definitely not. Like compared to like just in general, like North Korea.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, like
yeah, I was about to say something there, but yeah, no, it's definitely there's far worse.
there's a lot like and like just getting like in a dangerous territory of just like if you want like living in Afghanistan, it can be dangerous just because just terrorist attacks.
Yeah, and now that as soon as we pulled out, the Taliban immediately came back,
Yeah, who could
and
have
they're
guessed that?
doing just horrific things. Like they have like public executions and stuff, and like
Yeah,
the things they're doing to like women's rights, they don't exist anymore. Like, like the women are just yeah. Also, Saudi Arabia, they're up there. They really suck.
hmm
Saudi Arabia is an absolute monarchy. Fun fact.
yeah,
I think they were the last.
yeah,
Yeah, they're like literally one of the last in the like world to be
yeah.
an absolute
I,
monarchy.
they're the only country left, I think, except for like small countries.
Yeah, there's a few other ones. Yeah, but like it's really strange. It's not strange actually. It's diplomacy. But like the only reason Saudi Arabia is functioning and exists is because they're being propped up by America because oil.
USA.
Money.
But now that we're starting to like leave the Middle East, they will most likely just collapse because like Saudi Arabia, if you look at it, they don't have like an actual like military, like an army, because giving that many guns to the population, they would just rebel. It's simple.
Yeah, exactly. It's
So
not.
they have like very small, like independent, like uh,
Mercenaries
like
almost.
yeah, pretty much. Because yeah, if they arm their population, they're going to rebel. Like they have like public executions, and they lock up journalists like every day. They say something that they don't like. It's wacky.
Yeah, and like even like I'm gonna bring it back to Russia. Russia, like everyone thinks like they're super racist, but in fact they're not exactly very racist.
They're just homophobic.
Yeah, that's about
They're
it.
very homophobic.
And to be fair, a lot of countries are.
Yeah,
But I mean, they may be homophobic, but like they don't really care about the race you are. And and actually in Russia, women are actually very independent.
yeah,
I only recently discovered that. This is, I mean, like, every country has its flaws.
yeah,
Some have a few more flaws than others.
yeah.
And it's just,
Going back to climate change, Russia is actually going against doing things better for climate change. Or Putin is, at least.
yeah, I could,
Yeah, because you look at Siberia, and Putin's like, if all that ice wasn't there, that'd be some pretty nice agricultural zones.
yeah, that'd be some pretty nice land.
It was a little warmer there, I'm just saying.
Russia gets cold in the winter.
Exactly.
And like, Putin's not a good person necessarily. I
Yeah.
I just hope he gets replaced and he gets like replaced permanently.
Yeah.
'Cause, like I feel like once a good person takes the stand in Russia, they will change. That can change that country for the good.
Yeah.
Like I just hope to one day see Russia and NATO or something like that. Just them being a good country.
honestly, when you really look at it, the only thing separating America and Russia from being allies, at least compared to like China, is our history and like Ukraine.
Yeah,
Because like there's still bad like feelings, like bad what is it? Bad
vibes.
there's a bad taste in our mouth, I guess, from the Cold War.
Yeah,
And like obviously Ukraine, that's not going well. But I mean if we can somehow like handle this Ukraine thing, like compromise or whatever, I hope that we would see about getting Russia as an ally. Because honestly, if we get Russia, like we can just contain China, because China's the actual threat here. I don't know if many people actually realize. Like China's terrifying.
yeah. It's just, I mean, like communism, like back when I said it was, communism is not a bad idea, but in practice, it's always corrupted,
Yeah,
and that's what happened to China, of course.
yeah. But China is different because they like they held on to like Maoist communism for as long as they could, and then as soon as Mao died, they just immediately started reforming and like introducing some like capitalist like reforms.
Yeah, let's spice
Because
things
like
up.
China's like a capitalist market, but at the same time they're communist.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I feel like the people kind of made that decision for capitalism, in that sense. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, capitalism has its benefits, sure, but there's I don't think any system is a good system necessarily.
yeah.
There's only one good system: the free market.
No, you can. No. The free market is interesting.
It's a market.
I mean, they're doing good. I mean, Japan's a free market. Japan's got like the third biggest GDP in the world.
They also don't have a military.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, it turns out when you don't spend billions of dollars on the military,
That doesn't matter.
You have a lot of
Militaries are
spare
useless.
money.
turns out they don't need a giant army to be a happy country.
Listen, man, like America, we don't need an army.
We just have a small nation of people.
We have the Second Amendment for a reason.
Who we?
Second Amendment is bad.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about the Second Amendment?
Oh, wait. Good. It's great. How are we $30 trillion in debt? We're $30 trillion in debt right now.
And I think it almost always goes to military or social programs.
$7
Yeah.
trillion of U.S. debt is held by foreign nations.
Yeah,
Oh,
and like things that make me sad is like NASA only gets $6 billion a year,
they need more.
and like people are like, well, that's a lot of tax money. That's about half a cent per person.
I'm gonna state an unpopular opinion.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna be real with all of you. This pains me to say, but I don't know if NASA should be that much of a priority anymore. That's the nicest way of me saying I think we should just stop funding NASA.
I mean,
Here's
stop
my
funding-
point of view. The private like sector seems to be doing it seems like it's taken off real fast. And like if NASA maybe just gets integrated into like some of those like companies like Jeff Bezos not Tesla, Elon Musk, him, all them, the big guys,
Yeah.
then like that's a few $billion the US government budget can use, right?
Yeah.
Few extra.
I see what you mean. Like, but just the main
Yeah.
problem is NASA's a government contract. they're under government like that would require the entire government to agree that they can combine. And I wish they could combine with like SpaceX.
Yeah.
Because there's so much talent that just needs almost, like I said, it just needs money. And there's brilliant people there. And if they would merge into the private market, that would help a lot of people out. They could actually use their talent.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about SpaceX or Blue Origin?
I don't like SpaceX. I also just don't like Elon Musk.
You guys seen Venom?
That's a little off topic.
No, don't worry. I'm gonna tie it in. You'll see.
No, I'm not. Actually,
I've seen it.
Yes, I've seen it.
Never mind. Okay, Asher, you know the big bad guy, the Indian guy, the Life Foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gives me huge Elon Musk vibes.
He does. I know.
Like,
what do you guys find wrong about Elon Musk? Like, what do you guys not like about him?
he's my favorite IRL supervillain.
I second that statement.
How so?
Like, I don't like his personality. I'm gonna be honest. And,
Yeah, his personality is different. But
yeah,
one thing a lot of people also don't know and understand is he has a form of autism. He has Asperger's syndrome. Which is
does he actually?
Actually, yeah, he doesn't think he does. That's why he has problems talking when he first started out. He was always nervous because he has Asperger's syndrome, which is like the most common form of autism. Like Justin has that.
Yeah.
And so that's what Elon Musk has. So that's why his personality's just not like everyone, like all the other business people.
I mean, I love the work the guy does. He does great work, but just like as a person,
Yeah,
don't like him.
and that's fine. Not everyone likes shit. I don't like Jeff Bezos. I hate him, but he has a great platform with Amazon. I love Amazon. I just hate him.
That's what I'm saying. My dad piped up from the corner over there. Elon Musk hasn't created a single thing except PayPal. He has bought his.
Oh yeah, he
way
made
into
PayPal.
everything.
Well, he was the co-owner of.
Yeah, he actually did that. That was him.
Yeah, he did PayPal, but pretty much everything else has been somebody else.
I wouldn't say his rocket engines are like his automated like landing systems. That he helped with that.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know
it's
he
not
did
like
that.
he hasn't done anything. It's just a majority of what he's done isn't him. What he's saying.
And I feel like that's reasonable because he has two companies to manage, Tesla and SpaceX. Also, actually, that's not. He has many companies. Many companies you've never even heard of, like the Boring Company. I think you guys might have heard of that company.
They make the tunnel.
Yeah, they make the hyperloops and stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And he,
Oh yeah, and a flamethrower.
yeah, I want one of those so bad.
I think they're sold out.
They are.
Rip.
Absolutely, they're
I'm gonna
sold
buy-
out.
As soon as they come back, I'm gonna buy one.
I know. I want one so bad. It's
What
like
am I gonna do with it? I don't know.
decoration.
Set my house on fire.
I'm not gonna set the house on fire, Dad. Shut up.
You would use it outside where it's less flammable.
Yeah, I'll use it outside. Point it at the house.
Exactly. The wind will take care of it.
Set the wall on fire.
Insurance don't pay out if you cause the fire. So
Shut up.
That's called insurance fraud. Alright, I think we should probably wrap up this episode. We're an hour and 20 minutes deep.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I enjoyed this podcast episode.
Yeah, this was
Always
good.
great. We go off topic very easily.
And that's what I like about it.
You do.
That means we're not like that means we're just basically chatting. We're not following a script. We're just being
Yeah.
friends, talking about stuff we like.
Script.
Script? Yeah, read the script. Come on now.
Oh yeah. Where's my line?
Yeah, I think you're.
Oh,
Yeah, you're on line 392.
Okay. Well, boys, this looks like it's the end.
Wow.
Right, it's your turn.
Okay, my bad. Thank you for joining us today.
This is me. Frick. Follow us on Twitter at the Teepee Men and on Patreon, which we also sent out a tweet about that. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
we tweeted about the Patreon.
See you next week when we talk about insert topic here.